Battle Through the Heavens God, the Flame Emperor Chapter 306, the Do Formation Master is beginning to show his power. These people's visions don't seem right. Xiaoyan's huge soul power also discovered the other named disciples in this hall. Although most of them are powerhouses in the peak level of the 4-star Dode, many of them have reached the level of the 4-star Dode is at the perfect level, but obviously, the people in the 3 battles are already the strong representatives of their named disciples. Once they are defeated, then there is no hope for them to join the burning incense pavilion. It seems that a war is inevitable, but Xiaoyan also said slowly in his heart, and then slowly squeezed the milky white light that had been brewing for a long time in his palm. In the palm of the hand, the milky white light is the formation condensed by the core inscription of God movement. Damn it. I didn't expect the newcomer to be so strong this time. Zai Lian also faced Xiao Yi's crazy attack, and then she could only protect herself, and immediately cursed fiercely. Xiao Yi on the side also launched a crazy attack on Zillion. After all, Xiao Yi just woke up as a fire elf, and she is not familiar with the control of Doqi in his body, so there is no doubt that Zillion has the initial strength of the 5-star Dode. It became Xiao Yui's best trial stone. Damn it, we can't dodge like this. The 10 4-star Dode high-level powerhouses also realized something, and then prepared to fight back. It's just that the 10 4-star Dode high-level named disciples were also extremely embarrassed by the green flute's 3 little snakes, and there were many scars of varying degrees on their bodies. Obviously it was caused by the terrifying corrosive power in the little snake. Cough, cough. Green flute also coughed a few times, and then the 3 little snakes were instantly taken back by her. Are you alright? Mu Feng also said. It's okay, it just consumes a lot of doqi. Green flute also said softly. Leave the rest to me. Mu Feng also said, and then the wooden sword in Mu Feng's hand glowed with dazzling dark blue light, and Mu Feng also began to mutter in his mouth. Yin-yang gossip, the law of heaven and earth. The weak retreat. Mu Feng said viciously, and then a mysterious blue-colored force containing a powerful wind rushed towards the 10 people in front of him. Moved back. The 10 4-star Dode high-level powerhouses also hurriedly retreated when they saw this, and then began to condense a doqi barrier on their surface to protect themselves. After all, this Mu Feng's attack should not be underestimated. But it was more because the 3 little snakes of the green flute had been chasing the 10 of them and spraying out some highly poisonous doqi. The 10 named disciples had to use a lot of fighting qi in order to resist the poison, because they also knew, once the terrifying poison enters the body, then the consequences. In the light of serious injuries, in the worst case, he fell on the spot. Although I can't say why, but the 10 named disciples, with their 4-star Dode high level strength, can feel that the 3 little snakes are definitely not that simple. Moreover, in conjunction with the Medusa family, there are some pets that are so powerful that they are comparable to those of human beings, so they have to be guarded. Therefore, it took a lot of vindictive energy to deal with the 3 little snakes of the green flute, and now dealing with such a terrifying attack as Mu Feng, it also felt powerless. Boom boom boom. Mu Feng's terrifying attack also caused some injuries to the 10 named disciples, but Mu Feng also knew that although his attack was powerful, the targets of his attacks were scattered. After all, they were 10 named disciples. 1. Then Mu Feng also has the confidence to seriously injure him. If there were only 10, Mu Feng's attack power would be greatly reduced. Damn it. Li Ziyi also saw the state of the other 2 places, and then did not hesitate. The aura suddenly burst out from her body, and she said that she would back away Mu Yingying who was fighting with her. If that's the case, then we can't blame us. Everyone. Condensation. Li Ziyi also spoke slowly. Because of the strength and eyesight of Li Ziyi's 5-star Dode in the early stage, it is natural to find that even if these 2 battles are exhausted, the result of winning is very small. But they are not alone. There are 128 of them. They are a whole, and in terms of cooperation ability, these people are also out to kill ghosts all year, so they often form teams, and as for cooperation, they are extremely tacit. Roar. Deafening voices also gathered from all directions in the hall, and then an extremely terrifying aura instantly filled the hall. This. Mu Yingying was also stunned by this sudden scene. What is this? Mu Feng and Ludi also found out that the 10 named disciples who were fighting with them also rushed towards their large army. Excluding Li Ji, there were 127 strong men in front of them. At this time, in the hall, the 127 named disciples slowly condensed their douqi, and the terrifying fighting qi filled the entire hall in an instant, and I saw them standing up in a row. That height is 10 stories high. The highest place is where Li Ziyi is, followed by Ziyi Lian and an unknown disciple, and then 10 named disciples. There are 10 floors. A total of 127 named disciples form a huge human wall. However, even Xiaoyan was greatly surprised by its sturdiness. Ghost craving formation. Li Ziyi also shouted loudly, and then those huge douqi instantly converged into a huge energy figure, which enveloped the full 127 named disciples. Humph, I really underestimated you before. But since we have joined forces, there is no chance. Accept failure. Li Ziyi also laughed. Despicable. The green flute on the side also said that his face was not very good. Obviously, he also felt a terrifying fluctuation from this huge energy giant. The lips are dead and the teeth are cold. This is our only chance to join the burning incense pavilion, so it's despicable. Be a little mean, as long as you can win. Li Ziyi also said slowly. Okay, it's time to end you guys. I remember that the last time I was cracked by a little monster, I didn't join the burning incense pavilion, but you don't seem to be that much this year. Good luck. Li Ziyi also said. Xiaoyan was surprised to find that when Li Ziyi said a few words about last year's little monster, his eyelids jumped violently, which obviously left him a very unforgettable scene. It's troublesome now. Mu Feng also said solemnly. Obviously, the power contained in this terrifying energy giant is probably not something that the 5 of them can resist. Don't worry, leave it to me. Xiaoyan also smiled slowly, and then waved his palm viciously towards the huge energy giant. At the same time, Li Ziyi also discovered that there was a milky white light from Xiaoyan's hand, which was directed towards their energy giant composed of 127 people. What is that? Li Ziyi also had sharp eyes, saw Xiaoyan's every move, and then said slowly and solemnly. It's a. Ziyi Lian also said impatiently. Careful. There seems to be a little wrong with this milky white light. Li Ziyi also said in a deep voice. It was obvious that Li Ziyi was able to get to this point not only by brute force. Good boy, 5,500 core inscription battle formation array. The old man in the hall was also extremely shocked to look at Xiaoyan, who was smiling, and at the same time, a more proud smile also appeared in the old man on the body. It seems that this kid can be a practitioner of formation master. The old man also laughed. Chapter 307, End. Shabu Shabu. The milky white light in Xiaoyan's hand flew towards the energy giant composed of 127 people, and the next moment, when the milky white flame light approached, a scroll-like thing slowly spread out, and then suddenly turned into a huge milky white flame formation slowly surrounded the energy giant. This is actually a formation. Li Ziyi also shrank his pupils tightly, and then stared at the terrifying flame energy surrounding him in disbelief. Li Ziyi also tried to break free from this formation, but found that he couldn't break free, and he was not doing useless work. Even if they are under the protection of the energy giant, they can feel the horror of this formation composed of flames. The raging flames surrounded the energy giant, and the terrifying temperature also caused some weak people to have some strangeness. Obviously this flame is also unusual. Reciprocity. Xiaoyan also said slowly to that Li Ziyi. Damn boy. At this time, Li Ziyi was also extremely angry, and then roared at Xiaoyan. Their energy giants, which are composed of 127 people's douqi, show that it is to gather the douqi in their bodies together to form an energy giant. With the huge power of the energy giant, it is quite simple to deal with some ghosts. The power of the ghosts is enough to kill ghosts with one blow, so these named disciples also killed many powerful ghosts with the help of ghosts. I just didn't expect that Xiaoyan would be recruited here. This is Battle Formation Master. There was an expression in Mu Suze's dull eyes that couldn't be concealed. Obviously, after the milky white flame light that Xiaoyan just swung out shrouded Li Ziyi and the others, Mu Suze also discovered it. No wonder Mu Suze was so surprised. Because when Xiaoyan joined their human palace, he also knew that this Xiaoyan was the one who used the strength of some powerhouses with the initial strength of the 4-star Dode, and actually killed the twin who was comparable to the human 8-star Do powerhouse. Ghost Emperor? Although the twin Ghost Emperors were seriously injured, it is also a real 8-star Do. So Mu Suze also wanted to see what cards this guy had. Moreover, Mu Suze also knew that this Xiaoyan was not only outstanding in strength, but also had excellent medicine refining skills. The current Xiaoyan is already an alchemist at the peak of the first emperor rank, and only one step away is enough to set foot on the second emperor rank alchemist. Do formation masters are rare, but compared to alchemist, they are extremely rare. Now that there is another battle formation master, it is no wonder that Mu Suze is so surprised. After all, if a person cultivates hard in one direction, it is reasonable to achieve something. It's just that Xiaoyan seems to be a little different. Not only was his strength extremely outstanding, but his medicine refining skills were even more powerful. Even if Xiaoyan was thrown into the Pill Valley, there were only a few people who could compare to him. And now, coupled with the identity of the battle formation master, this Xiaoyan's identity is somewhat powerful and terrifying. This is really called monster. It seems that my temple has been silent for so many years, and it's time to relapse. Mu Suze also muttered while looking at the hall. His eyes were full of fire. Mu Suze also had confidence, and cultivated Xiaoyan into a sect overlord. That's just when Mu Suze had a plan in his heart, he suddenly found a figure above the hall. Although the figure was very vague, it was still discovered by Mu Suze. Old Zhu, you. Mu Suze also spoke slowly. Hush hush hush. The people above the hall also made a gesture to Mu Suze, and then continued to watch the battle in the field. Even Zhu Lao is here, but Zhu Lao is cultivating spiritual power. It seems that this Xiaoyan. After speaking, Mu Suze also smiled slowly, but there was something in this smile. Bad intentions. The battle in the main hall was also at a fever pitch at this time. A few people besides Xiaoyan slowly saw Xiaoyan, and then Xiaoyan disappeared in place in the next moment. Since it is a formation, the core of the formation must be taken over by someone else, otherwise it will not be able to exert the maximum strength of the formation. At this time, in the hall, a human wall composed of 127 people occupies a space of 10 feet. The energy giant is also 10 feet high. Xiaoyan's flame formation surrounded him. It was just right, no more than 1 point. Boom boom boom. Break it for me. Li Ziyi also controlled the energy giant and slowly attacked the space around him. The energy giant contained the Doqi power of 127 named disciples, and it was reasonable to say that it was extremely easy to deal with these 5 people. But where did he think that Xiaoyan would cast a formation out of thin air, trapping their last resort in it? At this time, the energy giant was trapped in Xiaoyan's formation, surrounded by flaming flames. And the strange thing is that no matter how powerful the attack Li Ziyi launches, it seems that he can't break the formation. And it seems that the power is absorbed by the flames. Don't waste your time. Early admit defeat. Xiaoyan also said slowly. I'm afraid that you won't succeed. Li Ziyi also shouted loudly, but Xiaoyan's formation gave Li Ziyi a very strange feeling. Xiaoyan seemed to be everywhere, and his voice came from all directions. Some formations will have some central existence, only if the central formation is destroyed. This formation will also be self-defeating. Ziyi Lian seems to remember something, and speaks to Li Zidao, the center of the formation. Li Ziyi also said in a deep voice, and then his eyes slowly looked at himself. At this time, the energy giant was surrounded by raging milky white flames, and it was difficult to find the center of the formation. Hey, then it's over. Xiaoyan's voice also came slowly, and the next moment, countless Xiaoyan appeared in the formation, and at the same time, countless Xiaoyan's pupils opened in the formation. The terrifying breath is also instantly diffused. Condensation. With a light snort, the countless Xiaoyan in the formation also moved their palms at the same time, and terrifying fluctuations of Doqi emanated from each Xiaoyan. Go. A coercive voice also appeared, and then the terrifying power in the palms of countless Xiaoyan also attacked the energy giant instantly. Boom boom boom. Although the energy giant was formed by the condensed Doqi of hundreds of named disciples, but now it is also in Xiaoyan's formation, and the power that can be exerted is extremely limited. Under Xiaoyan's attack, it is also without attack and self-destruction. It fell apart. As the energy giant dissipated, the hundreds of named disciples also lost their douqi, and then, like a plate of loose sand, the human wall collapsed instantly. We lost. Li Ziyi also spit out a few words with difficulty. Although they don't want to admit it, the strength of this kid named Xiaoyan in front of them is extremely terrifying. In the end, they were in the formation to face Xiaoyan's attack. If it wasn't for Xiaoyan's sudden withdrawal, then the hundreds of them the named disciple will undoubtedly be seriously injured. This Xiaoyan really convinces people with power. Chapter 308, Award. We lost. Li Ziyi's pale face was imprinted in the hearts of many named disciples. They seldom saw Li Ziyi's emotions like this. Li Ziyi's voice spread throughout the hall, and there were many voices in it. Not reconciled. The many named disciples around Li Ziyi also had unwillingness in their eyes, but more of them were helpless. What they look like now is something they could never have imagined. Originally, their winning card was in hand, because that kid named Xiaoyan turned the tide and defeated them in one fell swoop. Could it be that this kid named Xiaoyan is really the Xiaoyan who killed the twin ghost emperors? Otherwise, how could there be such a terrifying combat power? However, although everyone was surprised, since they were defeated, they could not change this fact anyway, so they also lost their qualifications to join the Burning Incense Pavilion. Hey, let's go. Li Ziyi also stood up slowly, and then said something to the people around him. Yeah, the people around Li Ziyi also responded. Obviously, although he lost, he was unwilling, but if he lost, he lost. His skills were not as good as others, so he could only practice harder and wait for the next challenge. Haha, wonderful. Mu Su also stepped forward slowly, and then his palms also bulged. Uncle Mu, don't they have a chance? Mu Yingying also asked unwillingly. Obviously, from the battle just now, Mu Yingying also discovered that although these named disciples were a little arrogant, their hearts were not bad. If they could join the Burning Incense Pavilion, they would not be a weak force. Rules are rules. This rule is not only in our Incense Pavilion, but also in other super section. Many named disciples have made a lot of contributions to the sect to become named disciples. Named disciples have the qualifications to challenge real disciples. Once they succeed, they can also join the sect, but if they fail. Mu Suze also spoke slowly, obviously the meaning of the words was obvious. Hey, there's no other way. Mu Yingying also shook her head, then looked at the people in the hall. She could see that Mu Yingying was really trying to find a way for these named disciples, not mocking. It's a fatal flaw and a fatal flaw. Xiaoyan also looked at Mu Yingying's actions and murmured. Obviously, this Mu Yingying should rarely come into contact with the cruel world outside, so her temperament is also as white as a feather and not stained with dust. These actions of Mu Yingying were naturally seen by Li Ziyi. These disciples of Incense Pavilion really deserve their name, not only their strength, but also their temperament. Li Ziyi also laughed, obviously affected by Mu Yingying's actions, and his impression of the disciples of Incense Pavilion also improved. Xiaoyan, he really deserves to be the one who killed the twin ghost emperors. Li Ziyi was silent for a while before continuing. If you fail, you have to face it gracefully. I look forward to seeing you shine in the sect competition. Li Ziyi also said slowly, and then slowly walked out of the hall with a group of named disciples behind him. Since it has failed, it is self-inflicted. To stay there. It is better to leave early, so that you can walk more casually. Hehe, it's really 5 terrifying little guys. Mu Suze also said to the only 5 remaining people in the hall. It is rumored that every new disciple who joins the super sect will receive a lot of resource rewards from the section. I don't know what reward Mu Suze gave us. If you just come with a few dode pills. Mu Feng also smiled slowly. Did you get the dode pill at random? Mu Suze also rolled his eyes at Mu Feng, and then said disdainfully. You must know that this dode pill is enough for the powerhouse below the 5-star dode to take it, and it is a kind of elixir to raise a level abruptly. Dode strong people can only take one in their lifetime, and they will develop resistance and have little effect when taking them. But this can't hide the powerful appeal of this dode pill. After all, to cultivate some outstanding disciples or descendants, high-level pills are often hard to come by. A few people around also smiled when they heard the words. Since it wasn't a reward like dode pill, what would it be? Immediately looking forward to it. What is that? Xiaoyan also raised a strong interest. When he just fought against the hundreds of named disciples, Xiaoyan knew that this should be the experience given to them. After all, Mu Suzi also said, in their burning incense pavilion, if you want to get a lot of resources, the first thing you need to do is to have enough strength to get enough resources to quickly improve yourself. The survival rules of the incense pavilion are also extremely severe, but there is no doubt that the quality of the disciples of the incense pavilion is also extremely good. Do you know the purpose of those people just now? Mu Suzi also sold Guanzi, and then said slowly, the people just now should have the qualifications to join our burning incense pavilion, so they want to test us. Green Flute is also very playful. You're right. But the most important thing is to select outstanding disciples. The number of people in each of the 3 halls of our burning incense pavilion is also extremely small, but there is no doubt that each of them is a unique powerhouse. But don't forget, our pavilion is one of the 9 super sects, and there are countless people who want to join our sect, so in order not to directly reject them, we also have the status of named disciples. There are countless named disciples in the 9 super sects, but the chances of successfully joining the sect by virtue of the named disciples are close to 0. As for the named disciple who just fought with you, it's just the tip of the iceberg among the many named disciples in our pavilion. The purpose of this challenge is to prove the excellence of the disciples who joined our pavilion, and secondly, it is also to cut off their delusional desire to join us. After all, although our incense pavilion has a small number of disciples, it is better to be short than excessive, so I will definitely not accept a person of mediocre qualifications. Otherwise, it will waste their time and ruin the reputation of our pavilion for many years. Mu Suzi also murmured, and his voice was full of unquestionable majesty. Sure enough. Xiaoyan also shook his head when he heard the words. Obviously, Mu Suzi's words, he had already guessed it just now, but there were still some changes in his heart when he heard it. Although this burning incense pavilion is a treasured place for cultivation, it is also a place where talents gather. Xiaoyan believes that those who can join this burning incense pavilion will definitely not be ordinary people. At this time, the blood that had been silent for many years in Xiaoyan's body seemed to be ignited at this moment. Because Xiaoyan has also found the passion for cultivation, Xiaoyan has absolute confidence, breaking out into the world in the pavilion where talents gather. Today? Okay, then it's time to give you the reward for joining the section. Are you ready? Mu Suzi also said slowly. Yeah. The 5 responded in unison. Xiaoyan also discovered that the door of light in the center of the hall was slowly opening, and then a rather familiar force also permeated from the door of light. Chapter 309, Rank 10 Dode. The energy in this door of light seems to be familiar. Xiaoyan also stared at the door of light in the hall in front of him, and then spoke slowly. This breath. It seems to be a bit similar to when I fought the Hall of Soul, Han Tian De on the Dochi continent. Xiao Yi also remembered something, and said, the body of Dode. Xiaoyan also shrank his pupils tightly, and then stared at the door of light in front of him, because Xiaoyan also suddenly remembered that the aura in this door of light was the same as when he used it on the Dochi continent. The body of the Dode that came out is quite similar. Yes, this is the Dode River, which is specially used to condense the body of Dode. Mu Suzi also brought the 5 people to the side of Guangmin slowly, and then slowly guided the 5 people. Dode River. The body of a Dode. What are these things? Mu Yingying also asked in a puzzled manner. Seeing the look of confusion, it was obviously the first time she had heard of it. Xiaoyan also frowned, obviously finding that Mu Yingying doesn't seem to know a lot of things, and she doesn't know anything about her attempts as a human being. Is this a fool? Of course, Xiaoyan wouldn't think that Mu Yingying was a fool. After all, Mu Yingying's 4-star Dode high-level strength. If it was a fool, it would be impossible for her to cultivate so fast. The so-called Dode River means that it has access to many independent spaces. These spaces are connected in all directions, but without exception, entering it can condense the body of Dode. Dode River has a special power, enough for you to condense the body of Dode. As for the body of Dode, it is to increase your attack and defense power by geometric multiples, and to form a huge energy body on the surface of your body through special techniques. Mu Suzi also smiled slowly. No wonder. Xiaoyan also remembered that when he was in the Dochi continent, The reason why the Hall of Soul Emperor could condense the body of a Blood Emperor was largely due to the records of their ancestors of the Han clan, so he could condense it. As for Xiaoyan himself, it is because of the ancient Emperor Tuashi, so he can also condense the body of Fire Emperor. However, in order to suppress the Han clan Emperor's soul power, he also completely burned the body of the Dode and completely suppressed the Han clan Emperor. Therefore, Xiaoyan also lost his body as Dode. However, Xiaoyan also found that since he came to the Xuanling continent, he rarely saw other people using the body of Dode. Haha, even on our Xuanling continent, there are not a lot of people who can use this Dode body. Mu Suze also seemed to have noticed Xiaoyan's doubts, and then said, although the body of Dode is powerful, it is a symbol of a strong Dode, but without this Dode river, it is difficult for ordinary families to condense it. Therefore, there are very few strong people on our Xuanling continent who can display the body of Dode, and the preciousness of this Dode river, other than our Xuan super sects, no other big family is qualified to own it. On the one hand, this Dode river must be opened up by Do 11 and powerhouses, and on the other hand, the things this Dode river needs are too precious to be measured by money. Mu Suze also said slowly, Hehe, I've heard about the symbol of a strong Dode, the body of Dode. I can't believe that I can see this Dode river today. Mu Feng also smiled slowly, but there was something in his voice that couldn't be concealed. Others don't know the body of this Dode, but he, Mu Feng, is very clear. There are two levels of powerhouses who have condensed the body of Do Emperor and those who have not condensed the body of Do Emperor. A strong person who has condensed the body of a Do Emperor, even if it is only in the early stage of the 4-star Do Emperor, is enough to rely on the body of the Do Emperor to resist the attacks of the strong in the early stage of the 5-star Do Emperor and remain invincible. This is the most terrifying aspect of Dode. It's actually the body of Dode. Green Flute couldn't hide her surprise, her jade hand raised slightly to cover her lips, so as not to express too much surprise. The Green Flute belongs to the Medusa clan, but this does not conceal her strength as a Dode. Their Medusa clan can also be condensed into a Dode. However, the preciousness of the Dode river, even with the background of their Medusa clan, cannot be established, so there are very few strong people in their Medusa clan who have the body of Dode. So how could Green Flute not be moved by the Dode river that is now in front of Green Flute? Moreover, the Green Flute also has a temper. When she joined the incense pavilion, she was attacked by the Xuanling king. It is impossible to say that she is not angry. Although the Medusa clan and the Xuanling royal family have a great blood feud, the Xuanling king dares to take the shot directly, so the Green Flute also has a grudge in her heart. The body of a Dode. Xiao Yi also muttered obsessively. Obviously, Xiao Yi also knew the horror of Xiaoyan's body as Flame Emperor, so he was looking forward to it. Because the current self is also a part of human beings, it is also a matter of course to cultivate the body of Dode. Okay, when I explain it to you, let's enter it. The body of the Dode is the symbol of a strong Dode, but not every strong Dode can display it. Only after entering the Dode river and condensing it can it become a major fighting method for you. The body of Dode is divided into 10 grades. The first grade is the most clumsy, but most of them are the 4th and 5th grades. I remember that the most outstanding disciple who joined our human palace last time was the 6th rank Dode. I wonder if you will be more perverted than him this time. Mu Suze also said slowly. But before Mu Suze's voice fell, he noticed the expectation of the 5 people around him, and then shook his head. Remember, the people who exist in the Dode river are all strong people. If you are lucky, you can meet some Dode bodies of overlords. If you can get the Do Emperor body of Dode, it will have different degrees of influence on your future cultivation. The benefits. Mu Suze also said loudly. Okay, let's all get in. I will wait for you here until you successfully condense the body of Dode. Mu Su's voice echoed in the hall. Let's go. Xiaoyan also exchanged glances with the people around him, then turned into a milky white flame, and went straight into the door of light. Or Dode river is more suitable. This Dode river has existed for thousands of years. I don't know if the most terrifying 10th grade Do Emperor still exists. After so many years, maybe it's still incomplete. Mu Suze also shook his head, and then the old man above the hall also slowly came to Mu Suze. When he condenses the body of Dode, maybe I will take him out. The old man whom Mu Suze called Zulao also said, "Well, no problem." Mu Suze also said with a smile, if Xiaoyan, such an excellent seedling, was taken by Zulao, he would be relieved. Reporting to my king, the things in the imperial pool have been processed, and outsiders can enter. A soldier also respectfully said to King Xuanling, "Send someone to send a letter to Burning Incense Pavilion. Since you agreed, you can't break the rules. But you Burning Incense Pavilion won't be jumping for a long time. When I get the 9-colored sky-swallowing python, it will be the day when your Burning Incense Pavilion and the Medusa clan will be destroyed." King Xuanling also laughed. Chapter 310, The Strange Dode River. This Dode River seems to be a little different. As soon as Xiaoyan entered the Dode River, he felt an extremely warm aura coming towards his face. Then at the same time, Xiaoyan's huge soul power was also covered, and he found that there were many light clusters around him, and there seemed to be something in the light clusters. Many light groups stared at Xiaoyan eagerly. "Originally, I wanted to find this Dode River to condense the body of a Dode for you after you joined the Incense Pavilion. After all, this body of Dode is a great way to save your life." The voice of Master Dragon King was also echoed in Xiaoyan's mind. Where are the others? Xiaoyan came back to his senses and suddenly found that Mu Yingying and the others had disappeared without a trace. "Don't look for it, this Dode River is an independent space. When they entered, they were immediately teleported, so you can't find them." The Golden Dragon King also said slowly, "Shabu shabu." Just when Xiaoyan was stunned, an invisible force in the surrounding white space was viciously grabbing at Xiaoyan. Seeing this, Xiaoyan also hurriedly activated Dode to resist, but no matter what Xiaoyan did, struggling, but also unable to escape. "Humph. Just because you are a 4th-rank Dode, do you want to accept my disciple?" The Golden Dragon King snorted coldly, then waved it casually, and a terrifying wave suddenly dissolved the invisible power. Xiaoyan was also gasping for breath. Obviously, the invisible fluctuation just now, if it wasn't for his master, the Golden Dragon King, he would no longer be here now. "Master, where are we going now?" Xiaoyan also said. "The place where you are now is the entrance of this Dode River. At this entrance, there will be some light groups with Dode's body randomly, and Dode's body in the light group. They were all strong before their death. He has been sojourned in the Dode River by special means, waiting to find someone who is suitable for him and bestow his body as Dode, so as not to let his unique skills be lost. This is also a kind of rebirth in disguise." The Golden Dragon King also continued to speak. "However, there are 2 ways to obtain this Do Emperor's body. One is to rely on one's own strength to condense it out." The Golden Dragon King also smiled slowly. "What about the other kind?" Xiaoyan also asked in doubt, then stared at his master, the Golden Dragon King. "Another kind. It's just alone. In other words, it is to obtain the body of a Dode who lives in this Dode River." The Golden Dragon King also laughed. "What's the difference between the 2? Xiaoyan also wondered. Obviously, he knew very little about Dode's body. So he opened his mouth. "The difference between the 2 is that the body of the Dode that you condensed is very compatible with yourself, and it is quite handy to fight, but with your current strength, the body of the Do Emperor that you condense, at best, will not more than 6 grades. As for obtaining the body of the Dode of this Dode River strong man, whether it is formidable or tyrannical, it is far superior to what you condensed yourself. So what's your choice?" The Golden Dragon King also stared at Xiaoyan with a smile, and said jokingly, "Naturally it's the latter." Xiaoyan also laughed slowly, and obviously understood why his master, the Golden Dragon King, resisted the invisible force that was trying to seize him. Because this Dode River has only one chance. Once attracted by that invisible force, Xiaoyan also lost his qualifications to find other tyrannical. Not bad. As for the tyranny of this Dode, when you get it, you'll know how huge the difference is between one of these grades. The Golden Dragon King also smiled slowly. Hearing that, Xiaoyan was also excited. Obviously, when he fought against the Hun clan emperor in the Dochi continent, he knew the tyranny of the Dode's body, so he was unavoidably excited when he wanted to regain the Dode's body. There seems to be an extremely terrifying existence in this Dode River. Xiaoyan's huge soul power also covered this Dode River, and then Xiaoyan also discovered that the space of this Dode river is too complicated, even if it is his own emperor realm. The soul power of the peak of the ordinary level can only be detected partially. It's just that Xiaoyan also vaguely felt that there seemed to be an extremely terrifying existence in the depths of the Dode river, and many surrounding forces were quite afraid of this force. Have you found it? The Golden Dragon King also laughed. The purpose of our trip is him. The Golden Dragon King also laughed. This. Xiaoyan heard the words, his pupils shrank tightly, and his face was full of disbelief. The power in the deepest part of Dode River should be the most powerful being. In front of him, his current strength is just like an ant. But, it's worth a try. Xiaoyan's eyes became hot after being surprised for a while. Although I don't know that the deepest power in river is a rank 10 Dode body, but if I think about it, it will not be weaker than myself. After all, the body of the Dode that he condensed was only the 6th rank, although Xiaoyan still did not know how far apart there was in the body of the Dode who was 1 rank. But I can also feel it from my master, the Golden Dragon King. The difference is definitely not a little bit. Let's go then. This power seems to be familiar, maybe it is a strong person I knew before. The Golden Dragon King also pondered a little, and then said, yeah. Xiaoyan replied softly, and then covered his body with milky white flames, heading towards the depths of the Dode River. Along the way, Xiaoyan also encountered a lot of powerful forces. Just from the perspective of his strength, Xiaoyan could feel it. If he obtained the body of Dode in the light group of these strengths, his rank should not be lower. But Xiaoyan was heading towards the deepest part of Dode River, because Xiaoyan also knew the purpose of his trip. Old Zhu Musizi was also in the hall, guarded by the Dode River, but at this time an old man appeared outside the Dode River. The old man had a lazy face, but his eyes were fixed on Dode River, and then he said, "Hehe, what a greedy kid. He actually want to get the body of the 10th rank Dode." The old man who Musizi called Zulao also spoke slowly. There was some surprise in his voice. What? When Musizi heard the words, his originally calm expression became strange. This Dode River has the body of a 10th rank Dode, but Musizi also knew that this 10th rank Dode was a really powerful during his lifetime. At least they are much stronger than them. If you really want to say it, it seems that only the pavilion master of the incense pavilion who sees the head but does not see the end can be compared. Moreover, Musizi seemed to remember that the old Zuzu in front of him also tried to challenge this 10th rank Dode when he was young. The result? He was completely tortured. So this is also the shame of Zulao these years. However, Elder Zhu's current status is that of the elder of their human palace. The elders who can join the 3 halls of heaven, earth, and human have the lowest strength and must reach the level of the 7-star Dode. This Xiaoyan is really a talented boy, but if you have the ability, you can show me this 10th rank Dode. Musizi also said slowly to Dode River. Hey, this kid really isn't a fuel-efficient lamp. Old Zhu shook his head too, and then stopped talking. The two quietly waited for their success outside the Dode River.
Hi. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get updated on my latest video. Thank you for watching.